Welcome to Engineering Scale Models Presents Tabletop Strategies, Tips, and Tricks. I'm Jason, your host, and today we'll be playing Dungeon Saga Quest number 1. And let's get to the camera here. Got a couple different angles to look at. And as I said, we're doing Quest 1. Actually, it's Adventure A, I'm sorry. Right here, Journey from the West. We're playing as Rorden and Orloff. So we have it all set up. Only Orloff and the Barbarian and Rorden the Dwarf are used in this adventure. We have it set up. We are playing with the Invisible Overlord. I have another video out about my overview of playing this game solo. I zoomed in on the board the best I could, plus I gave you a different angle with the camera, with this camera here. So hopefully you guys like this, and I can try to do something like this in the future. But let's get started. Journey from the West. The necromancer's lips moved without sound as he caressed the intricate runes and magical symbols carved into the door. He carried no torch, not because of the glow that throbbed from the door as he worked, but because he had long since stopped needing light to see by. So lost was he in the task at hand, so eager to gain entrance to the chamber beyond and continue his quest, that he almost missed it. A disturbance in the upper levels of the hold. Something? No, someone had broken in. He gave an irritated grunt and sent a tendril of awareness up to the entrance, feeling, probing in the dust of ages and the detritus of long-ago battles. There, with a twitch of his senses, he gifted a spark of unlife to the bones that lay there. He returned to the door before the spell was even finished, confident it would deal with whatever fools had broken in and disarming it from his mind. He had a higher purpose. All I'm saying is that you could have waited a few more moments and I would have opened it. The barbarian grunted by the way of a reply. He did that a lot. It was beginning to get on Rorden's nerves. The dwarf people weren't noted for their sparkling conversational skills, but this was absurd. He looked around at the chamber. The main entrance hall into Dolagarth was a sorry ruin coated in layers of dust and scattered debris of ages past. A rustling sound up ahead in the darkness caught his attention, and he raised his torch to see what had caused it. The flames picked out the sightless pair of eye sockets staring back at him from atop a riotous grin. Bony fingers clutched a rusty old sword, and a half-decayed leather breastplate hung loosely from the torso. Well now, seems we have company. Okay, so the Overlord has 12 command cards, so I have that laid out for a timer. He gets 2 commands per turn, and the raised dead limits is 4 skeleton warriors, which happens to be how many warriors are on the board. The heroes win if the final door marked X is open. This right here, it's a it's a mundane lock with 3 armor and 3 combat dice, and the Overlord wins if he cripples one of the heroes. It doesn't say if the timer runs out, but that's normally a loss. So that's the mission. I got it all laid out here. We're playing with the Invisible Overlord cards, so let's get started. It is our turn to go first, but first we need to set up our timer. The Overlord at the beginning of the game would draw 3 cards, so we will take those off of the timer, and then we'll put our timer over here. And we will bring our Invisible Overlord deck in and sit it. No, it's not going to be seen there. We'll put it right there where get the logo out of here. So there's our Invisible Overlord deck. So that's all set up. So we get to go take our first turn. You move and then attack, or you attack and don't move. You have to move first. So I think my best bet is to move Orloff, because he has a 7 movement. You can see that right here on his card. He has 5 combat dice and an armor of 2. He has a feat. You can't see it because of the glare of the camera. I did my best to get rid of it. I was unable to, but you're able to make out most of it, so I'm just going to go with it. I even turned off all the lights and it was still there. It's just this is a silvery color and it doesn't work well for camera. So let's move the barbarian first. Now if I move in front of an enemy's front arc, that is the 3 squares in front, the 2 on either side, I have to stop my movement. So I'm going to take him and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and place my figure there. Now he is now in my front arc. He's in one of the 3 squares in front of me, and so this is my front arc here. My rear arc is exposed, but I think I can be alright. So now I am going to attack this skeleton warrior. Excuse me. The skeleton warrior, we'll look at the overlord panel here, has a movement of 4, 2 combat dice, and a defense of 2, and it has no special effects, but it takes 2 hits to turn it to a pile of bone, and 3 or 4 hits to destroy the model. So put that back there, and we're going to roll our combat dice here. Now it says that Orloff gets 5 dice, so we'll grab his 5 blue dice, and the bone skeleton warrior gets himself 2, so we'll roll these out here. There's no modifiers. When we get to modifiers, I'll explain those. Now we need to line the dice up in order. So I got a 5, a 4, a 2, and a 1, and a 3 and a 2. So the skeleton has an armor of 2. So these 2, 1 and 2, they're feeble, so we take those away. And that leaves us with a 5 beating out of 3, and a 5 beating out of 2, and then 1 additional hit that goes unblocked. So that is 3 hits, and that destroys the skeleton, and I remove it from the board. I'm just going to put it off the camera because it can come back during the Invisible Overlord's turn. Now, as I said in my solo overview video, it is now the Invisible Overlord turn to get a card. We will flip his card here, and we'll check the bottom for an interrupt, and it says no there, so he does not get to interrupt. So that is that. So now the dwarf can go. And does the dwarf want to take out this guy or move forward? Dwarf has a movement of 6. Let us see here. Alright, we're just going to come here and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and stand here, but I want to change my facing to this way. So my rear arc is back here, so that way I have I don't have anything that can sneak up on me, and if I had my rear arc over here, one of these bone piles could pop up and attack me. So now I am going to attack this skeleton warrior. Warden's attack is 4 combat dice, and again the bone skeleton has 2. And we rolled a 6, a 5, and a 5. The 1 is a feeble hit, so it doesn't count. And they rolled a 6, a 5, and a 3. So the 6 beats the 5 beats the 3, and then the other 5 is another hit. That's 3 hits. That destroys that model, and that ends the hero's turn. So now the hero's turn it is now the Overlord's turn. He will flip over his first card. He gets 2 cards now, and we ignore the interrupt and we ignore the number on the top of the card. And we're going to look at the threat, because if we look in the adventure book, the Overlord gets to act with 2 models. So he can either raise or move 2 models, and then we will draw another card for him to do more actions. But right now he has 2 actions, and he wants to go after a marksman or unarmored. Unarmored is an armor of 1 or 2, and it wants to pin the model. So it wants to get as many models as it can in the front arc of an unarmored model. And I explained how threat works in the solo overview. Basically, you take the hero's level, which is 0, and then for every item that they check off on the category, they get +3. And I added closest to the top of that, so the closest will get +3, and then his unarmored will get +3. So Olaf has an armor of 2, which is considered unarmored, so he will be the target of this attack, and it is 2 models. We happen to have 2 models here, so we're going to move this one in first. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it says the pin. It doesn't say to make an attack after the pin, but I think that would be wrong. I think the Overlord would attack the model, so we are going to do that attack. The skeleton gets 2 dice. We have an armor of 2, so 2 or lower gets discarded, and Orloff has 5 combat dice. So we will roll this, we'll re-roll that one, and he rolled 2 2s, so we don't even have to line that up because it was a feeble attack. So the skeleton was unable to pierce the loincloth of Orloff the Barbarian. So now our second model will be this guy. He will move 1, 2, 3, 4. Now Orloff is outnumbered, and we completed the pin order. So Orloff is outnumbered. He will be attacking. He will be attacked again, but he will lose a dice for being outnumbered. That's one of the modifiers. So he now is at 4 combat dice, and the skeleton will attack him. And the skeleton did pretty good. So we have a 6, a 6, a 4, a 5, a 2, and a 1. Unfortunately, the skeleton didn't do well enough. So we were able to block the attack with our axe. We just blocked the sword blow with our axe, and no damage was done to us. So that will end the first card of the Overlord. Now we will draw another card, and this time, again, we'll ignore the interrupt. And we'll look here, we activate 1 model, and they want to go after the armored and the wounded. So the closest armored guy is the dwarf, and it's a support role which would have us raise skeletons. So we are going to raise 1 skeleton that is closest to the armored dwarf, because armored is an armor of 4 or 5. So we are going to raise this into this guy, another skeleton warrior. I'm going to have max of 4 on the board. So that is going to be the end of the Overlord's turn. Now we do any end of turn effects. There are no end of turn effects. And now we will move on to the player's turn. Currently, Orloff is outnumbered, and he doesn't like that, so he calls over to Rorden. Rorden, get up here, man, I need your help. So Rorden will go first, and he has a movement of 6, so he will 1, 2, 3. And he will change his facing to where his rear is not exposed. So he will go like this. Yes, if this skeleton bone raises, he will get a... But I don't want this skeleton to come in the rear of Rorden. So... Actually, yeah, I'm going to leave that facing there like that. So his rear is here, and then now these 2 skeletons are still in his arc, so we're no longer outnumbered, and he is going to... Oh, we are outnumbered. Rorden is outnumbered because 2 models to his 1 model. So he is in the front arc of 2 models. So he will only roll 3 dice to the skeleton's 2 dice. So let's roll that out here, and we rolled very poorly. We rolled 2 feebles, and they blocked our 4 with the 6, so no damage is done to the skeletons. So now it is Orloff's turn, and he's like, I got this, I'm going to use my feat. Now a feat is, you use it once per game, and it is used up. You can't change your facing, you can't move, you can't do anything but use your feat. So he is going to do his feat, and his feat is... Orloff makes a separate 4 dice attack against every enemy model adjacent to him, including enemies in his rear arc. Orloff attacks are not modified by anything, but the defenders are modified as normal. So the defenders are outnumbered because, or not out, no, they're not outnumbered. Well, yes, individually they're outnumbered. So they're going to get only an armor of 1 because they can't lose a dice. You can have a minimum of 2 dice. So he's going to get 4 dice attacks on this one first. And he gets a 6. These 1s are feeble. And he gets a 3. The 6 is enough to penetrate, but the 3 is blocked, so no damage is done. Now we will attack the second one, this one here. And he gets... oh, all these are going to get through. So we line them up. 6, 5, 3, 2. We line up the 2 and the 1. And we do enough hits to destroy this model. So that model has been destroyed. So it's not turned to a pile of bones because we got more than 2 hits. So that is the end of Orloff's turn. But I made a grave mistake before I did that. Warden went first. I realized I made 2 mistakes. At the end of the round, one of the endgame round effects was I had to discard a timer card. And then after Warden's turn, I didn't draw a card, but there was no interrupt, so we can continue with the turn. So we'll just replay the turn. So that was my fault. So now that's the end of the round. So we will draw a card, and he can act with 2 models, and it is going against the marksman weakest, closest marksman's weakest. There's nobody the weakest, because nobody's taken any wounds, and the order is to attack, and he gets to do this with 2 models. So we will first move this model here, 1, 2, 3, into Orloff's rear arc. Now this is where I want to do what's worse for the heroes, because this is what's worse for the heroes. Because now Orloff's going to roll 2 less dice, 1 for being outnumbered and 1 for being attacked in the rear. So he only has 3 dice to defend with. So he is going to attack, and I actually defended that. The 6, my 6 beats the 6, and my 5 beats the 4. So that was actually defended. That's fantastic. So that hit goes unchecked, and then now my second activation will be this model here, and it will attack, but he's in the front arc of Orloff, so he will get 4 dice back this time, but he's still outnumbered. So it's 2 1s, which are feeble attacks because he has an armor of 2. So they're feeble attacks. Again, the same skeleton misses. Doesn't even penetrate the loincloth. It's just blocked like it's anything. So now the second invisible overlord card is drawn. We ignore the interrupt again, and it says activate 1 model, marksman wounded, gang up. Well, we have no more models to activate, so we're going to raise a skeleton. So we're going to raise this one here in the rear arc of Rorden. So we're going to use our 1 activation to raise one of these warriors right in the rear arc of Rorden. So now we will go to end of round, and we will discard another timer card, and we will take our turns. Orloff already used his heroic ability. He did poorly with it. Rorden has an enemy in his rear arc. So or they're both outnumbered, so they're both going to lose a die either way of that. I guess Orloff will go first. He will roll his 4 dice because he's outnumbered against the skeleton in front of him that he keeps missing. So these 2s are misses. And then we got, well, we actually did 2 damage to it, because the 4 beats the 3 and the 3 beats the 2. So this 2 damage reduces it to a pile of bones. But that is the end of that turn. I could have changed my facing. I probably should have, but I didn't think that through. So we'll draw the Invisible Overlord card. It is an interrupt, and it says Armored Quest. So the armored is anybody with an armor of 4 or 5. That is Rorden, and there happens to be a warrior in his rear arc, and there's 1 model there. So that skeleton will get 2 dice, and Rorden will only get 2 dice because of the modifiers of being outnumbered and the rear arc. So he loses 1 for someone being in his rear arc attacking, and 1 for being outnumbered. So wow, that is 2 fantastic hits by the skeleton. We did not defend any of them. So the most a hero can take is 1 wound, and Rorden has now taken 1 wound. So it is now Rorden's turn to go. Now, he's probably thinking he should change his facing because he just got hit in the booty. But he wants to kill this skeleton pinning Orloff down. So he's only going to get 3 dice, and he's going to attack that skeleton here. Skeleton right here. So, and he rolls 1 feeble, and he only gets 1. Nope, he got 2 hits. So he was able to get 2 hits, a 6 and a 4. And the 6 beats the 4, and the 4 beats the 1. So it's 2 hits. This is reduced to a pile of bones. Put that right there. And now that is Rorden's turn. Now we go to the Overlord's phase, and we're going to draw a card here, and we're going to look. They want to go against the unarmored and the weakest, and they want to pin the model. Unarmored is Orloff, so, but he gets 2 activations. I don't want to raise a bone pile. It says you don't raise a bone pile in the front arc of another enemy, so we're not going to raise any of those, but I am going to raise 1 here, like so, and I am going to attack him with this guy because it's the only person he can attack. So again, in the rear arc, so Rorden only gets 3 dice, and we will roll this, and again this skeleton is doing very well. So 1 hit gets through, the 6 gets through, and that is another damage for Rorden. So we're getting close to that lose condition. So now we will draw our next one, and it is number 1. We get 1 activation, or the Overlord gets 1 activation. This is Unarmored Quest and support, so we're going to be raising the dead anyways. We're going to raise this one here because the other bones are in the front arc of heroes. Now, all we have to do is get this door open. And first we're going to flip over a timer card, and we are going to move on with our turn. Orloff is going to go first. He is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to this door here, and he is going to roll 5 dice against the 3 dice of the door. We just need 1 hit to open it and win. So re-roll that one. So 6, 5, 3, 4. These 2 are misses because the door has an armor of 3. So the 6 beats our 4, the 5 beats our 4, but our 4 beats this 3, and we have opened the door, achieving our victory conditions. And Orloff's like, hey, see you later. Good luck with that skeleton, dude. Good luck with that. So let's see here what the book says for this adventure. So yep, open the final door, marked X, we've done that. It says Aftermath. The last skeleton dropped under the heavy blow of Orloff's axe, and the barbarian grunted to himself in satisfaction. Rorden, taking no chances after the experience of the last few minutes, stomped down on the hard skull, shattering it under his heavy boot and grinding the fragments to powder under his heel. These things didn't go down easily, and had we no wish to find one of them risen again and at their backs later on. Orloff blew out a long breath and kicked out at the dismembered hand lying on the flagstone beside him. So what now? So that's the end of that mission. The next mission is going to be Journey from the East, and it is going to take Magna, and Denor is going to do the next mission. So that is going to be that. Thank you for joining me on this adventure for our barbarian and our dwarf fighter, just beating it down, leaving the dwarf behind, because that's what you do to dwarves, you leave them behind. So, but they'll make it out, they'll get through. I hope you enjoyed it in solo with the Invisible Overlord. I hope I didn't make too many mistakes, and if I did, I hope I worked them out in the next game. Also, hope you enjoyed the new setup. Let me know if you do in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. You can visit me at these social media links. The links are in the description below. You can also visit my Patreon page, where I post all my custom rules with no need to sign up. You can also help me out there if you so choose. Again, I hope everyone has a nice day, and thank you for watching.